to Just Minding My Business Radio, where we are moving at the speed of God, learning what we didn't know we didn't know. I'm your host, Ida Crawford.
And I'm your co-host, Ruth Haskins.
So grab a pen and paper and get ready for information that you can use.
Welcome to Just Minding My Business Media for news and views you can use. We hope you have enjoyed a day of fulfillment and are moving towards your goals. Today we have coming to the mic Lantoinette Clark, author of Freedom Is, a book of poetry written to encourage and inspire many in their life's journey. With a background in the United States Air Force, a bachelor's degree in human resources, and her master's degree in marriage and family therapy, Lantoinette eventually became a certified Christian counselor. In this capacity, she hopes to use her combined knowledge and experience to reach others in need of support and inspiration. She is also a contributing author to the spectacular Amazon best-selling book, Unmute Yourself. Welcome, Lantoinette Clark. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So tell us how your journey began.
How my journey began with writing?
Yes.
Okay. So I started writing when I was like back in the 2000, probably. I was in the military and I was overseas, and actually I was in my room and I was meditating, and I got a pen and just started writing, and I couldn't stop. And then in prayer, God told me then that he had anointed my hand to write. And so I would just write poetry, especially in my dark moments is when I would write. And then eventually I started putting them together. And I would read them at different conferences, a women conference or at a Bible study or a women group meeting. I would read the poetry, and then I realized that it had an effect on others. And so that inspired me to continue to write. And that's pretty much how I started.
Okay. So give us one of your poems that you can kind of think of off the top of your head.
Look at Me, actually, is the one that resonates the most with me. In fact, that's the chapter in the book Unmute Yourself, the anthology. I titled it Look at Me, and it was based on the poem Look at Me. And if you would allow me, I can read it for you.
Absolutely.
Is that okay?
That is perfect.
Again, the title is Look at Me. And it goes like this. Some look at me and think I got it going on, rejoicing in the Lord and singing my song. My happy demeanor and great big smile, crushed and hurt in the inside all the while. My bruised spirit, no one can see. I don't open up, I just let it be. Afraid of what others may feel or think, not a pretty picture, so deeper I sink. Look at me, I said, look at me. I know only Jesus can make me free. Free from all this guilt, hurt, and shame. Some things have happened, surely I'm not to blame. Why do I blame myself, I say? Certainly, I don't want to remain this way. Look at me, I said, look at me. I know only Jesus can make me free. No more worries and no more shame. Jesus has washed me from the unwarranted blame. He purged me and cleansed me, gave me a new start. In spirit and truth, I worship him with all my heart. Now, when things get tough, as they sometimes do, I run to my Savior, and he will see me through. Look at me. Again, I said, look at me. I can boldly stand and say, Jesus has made me free. Now look at me.
Oh, that is so beautiful.
I love that poem so much because it was for a long, long time, I didn't want anyone to look at me because of all of the things I had going on inside, because what I had experienced from a little girl. I didn't want anybody to look at me. I would hide behind big hair or big frame glasses. And I was afraid if someone would look at me for who I was, what they see, that they would see the ugliness that I felt. And so after I was freed from it, I don't mind people looking at me now. I don't have to hide anymore. I don't have to be ashamed anymore because I'm free.
That, you're right. That is a poem that would resonate with many, many women, especially because
Yes.
so many of us do live with things that, shame. There's a lot of shame and guilt. And sometimes the guilt that we carry has nothing to do with us. It's somebody else's guilt, but we carry it. So that's a beautiful poem. Thank you for sharing that.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Very beautiful.
Thank you.
You're a beautiful soul. I can already feel it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well, tell us a little bit more about your writing experience and all the things that you've experienced. You have a tremendous background. You were in the Air Force.
Yes.
I'd love to know how you made that decision and how that was for you and how it's affected the rest of your life.
Yes. So I knew early on, like when I was like 13, that I wanted to go into the military for two reasons. One was I saw this picture of a man. I was babysitting a boy and a girl, and I was 13, and I saw this picture of a man in his uniform, and he looked so distinguished and so prestige and so proud. And I wanted to feel that, because at the time I didn't feel that, and I wanted to feel that. And so I said, I want to be like that one day. And then when I graduated from high school, I went into the military. The second thing was to get away from home, to get away from all of the pain, because I had pain. And I figured if I went into the military and travel, I would get away from it, and I would be free from it. And so that was the reason why I went into the military. And I did some traveling, and I, met many nice people, but I still had that hurt and that pain inside. I didn't leave it. It came with me. And so that was something I dealt with for a long, long time. I enjoyed the military, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. I was in the Air Force, and doing that and meeting people. I wrote about different situations, different circumstances. I wrote about life. Because it gave me some great experiences in the military. And I even went overseas thinking that, nobody will know my background. They won't know anything about me. So they won't look at me. And how I started the book, my chapter in Unmuted, when you look at a cover, you judge the book by its cover. And so that was always in the back of my mind. But so the Air Force became a way of life. It did, but I also experienced some things in the military that I have yet to talk about, that it was like running from pain into pain. And so that I don't regret any of it now. I've come full circle to appreciate what I've gone through, because I know that it was for the making. It wasn't pleasant going through it, but looking back on it now, it was for a purpose. It was for a plan. And so that was my journey with the military. I did 21 years, and it gave me a sense of pride in accomplishing a whole bunch of things, but I still felt ugly inside. No matter what I accomplished, the degrees, the rank in the military, I still felt ugly inside. I felt like, I wanted to hide until probably the last 5 years, and is when I was totally free. In my writing, I was free for the moment, but it just took me away for the moment because I wasn't really healed. I wasn't really set free. I wasn't really able to let go permanently. It was just in the moment of writing. So my writing was a way of escape for me. But once I'm done writing, then reality sets in, and I haven't dealt with what, was really on the inside.
I think think that's so amazing. One of the things that Ida and I have experienced, we've been very blessed to experience in doing these podcasts and doing this work, is that we meet amazing women like yourself. And so many have the same, not the same story, but the elements are the same.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of what they do now in their life has been created really from childhood.
Yes.
And they have run away from it. I think we run away from it. And then finally, as one person just recently said, all the bricks fall down from the wall on top of you. You know,
Yes.
all of a sudden you realize that, oh, I've got to do something to get out from under this. And it's always our faith and belief in God
Yes.
that gets to us. And I think that's amazing, because so often right now we hear about all the protesting and everything that's going on. We forget that as a people,
Mm-hmm.
the reason we're still here is because we had a faith in God.
Yes.
It wasn't about just the church going and all that. We had an innate faith in God that somehow we would make it through. Somehow
Yes.
we were strong enough to make it through. So we're here. And then I keep hearing the same kind of faith come out in the conversations that we have with so many of the women that we interview. And that's what I hear in you, that faith that, you know, even though things were rough and there were things that you didn't want anyone to look at you, there was someone who was looking at you and saying,
Yes.
"You're good enough. You're good enough." And it was just took time for you to be able to finally hear that voice and say, "Oh, I am good enough." And I think
Yes.
it's so beautiful to hear. You are a beautiful person.
Yes,
I would love to meet you in person, other than
love to meet you.
yes. Oh my goodness, you bring such a warmth and reality to your faith.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you, Miss Ruth. You know, I accepted the Lord into my life at an early age. I was 14 or 15. And I accepted him into my life. My sister and my mother, we all did at the same time. I accepted him into my life, but I really didn't know him. You know, I based I based it on my mom, right? She was the one that we were in church 7 days a week, and so it was a part of me, but I really didn't grasp the true meaning of it until I got out on my own, and then I learned about my Lord and Savior for myself, who He is and what He's done and how He's brought me, kept me, and protected me, and the more I walk with Him, the more I realize, like you said, I am good enough. In fact, I have a poem in Freedom Is about this angel, and this is true. This angel that followed me in my dreams when I was little. I didn't realize the significance of it until much later, that was God watching over me all the time. Even when I was going through all the things that I was going through, He was watching over me all the time. And so, but Blue is the title of it. Blue, he followed me from the time I was, I don't know, like 3 or 4 years old until I became a teenager. And I started looking for Blue. This is real. This is real. I started looking for Blue and he wasn't there. But, but I realized that God was there all along. He was there all along. He is the reason why I'm able to stand today in the strength that I have. Is through Him. Because if it wasn't for Him, I don't think I would be. There was many times that I didn't think that I would be able to, but I just held on and I had faith and I trust that He has a plan and a purpose for me, and only He knows, and I just have to trust His process. It was hard, it was difficult, but long as I stood on believing and trusting in Him, I know that it would be all right eventually, and it is, and it will be.
I think that again, Ida, did you want to jump in?
I'm just moved by this woman right now.
Mm-hmm.
So your voice and I'm just moved.
Very touching. I wish our audience could see you.
Yeah.
They will.
You know, because they would be also, as Ida said, moved. What you say is not something external to yourself. It's a part of yourself. It's a part of who you
Yes.
are. And so many times people will talk about things that are kind of like outside of themselves, but this is something that you've integrated over a period of time.
Yes.
I do believe exactly what you said, that, most of us do not look back and recognize how much God has been in our lives,
Mm.
how much he has been constantly there. Because if he hadn't been there, we wouldn't be here.
Right.
There are things that
Right.
all of us have gone through that there had to be a God force there.
Yes.
Otherwise, we would not be alive to talk about it,
Right.
or at least not in our right mind. Somehow
Right.
he protects us. And I think that comes early in life. I think that
Mm.
comes, personally, I'll share something my great grandmother said. She said, if newborn babies were allowed to speak, they would give away the secrets of heaven.
Wow.
Because we know when we come into this world, as infants, we are perfectly happy, we're joyful, we're full of love, life is just golden and wonderful. And then something happens to us.
Yes.
We get cut off from all of that. And we really do struggle. We become like the prodigal son. We struggle. We go everywhere trying to find what it is that we really had at one time. We
Mm-hmm.
had it when we were born, and we get snatched away from it, and we travel around trying to find it,
Yes.
only to have to come home and say, oh, Father, thank you,
Yes.
for giving me the good sense to turn around and come home. That's what I hear in you. That's what I hear.
Yes.
This
Yes.
struggle as a child just to survive, running away from pain. We do that, only to have to turn around and come home and say, oh, okay,
Mm-hmm.
here I am, here I am,
Yes.
here I am.
Yes.
Just all of me, whatever, the mess, all of it, the brokenness. Here I am.
Yes. Yes.
Let him do the healing for us.
Yes.
Yes.
I really do. I wish I could reach out and hug you.
I know. I just want to reach out and hug her too. It's
Oh
just,
my, such a beautiful.
Oh.
that's how I'm feeling right now. I just want to reach out and
Oh.
hug you. You were just
Mhm.
Oh.
soul.
Thank you.
I am so glad you are here.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be here.
Could you talk a little bit about Freedom Is? That just sounds like a lovely book of poetry.
Yes. So Freedom is it's a collection of poetry to encourage, inspire, and lift others. And I think it came about. I was at this women conference about 5 years ago, and we were talking about the conference was about healing the little girl inside, and so in that conference, I think it was like maybe three days long or whatever, we had to come to grips with the little girl inside that needs to be healed. And in that conference, God spoke to me. He gave me some steps that I needed to take in order to be free from it. It was difficult for me, the freeing process. And so it was a few things that he had told me to do. And once I did those things, it was like the weight of the world lifted off me and I was free. And so one of the things that, I'll just tell you the things that he told me to do. The first step was to go to the people that hurt me and harm me and ask them to forgive me. And that didn't quite sound right at first. Ask them to forgive me. I mean, but I wanted to be obedient. I wanted to be free, so I was obedient. And it was to ask them to forgive me for holding what I was holding against them for all these many years. And so I had to do that. I called and I didn't want anything in return. Just wanted them to hear, they forgive me. And so I had to do that. And then he gave me some scriptures to read, and it was a few steps that I had to take. And so after doing that, it was like, since then I was on a freedom crusade. It was hard and difficult for me to talk about the things that happened to me as a little girl, 4 years old, 8 years old, 10 years old, 12 years old. But I had to do that because if I didn't, I was still hiding. I was still hiding something, right? And I wanted to let it all out. And when I let it all out, then the enemy can't hold it against me to make me ashamed or make me still be shackled and bound in the guilt, and so I started a crusade of freedom. And so with that, I compiled all poetry I had written over the years. I started writing, like I said, back, it might have been in the 90s. I remember my first one was about my grandmother. She was my mentor. She was the epiphany of love. And so I wrote a poem about her. So I put them all together. And then I just started talking about them, in different platforms, on different platforms. And then God told me that I was going to write a book. And he gave it to different ones to tell me that you have a book in you, actually a couple of books. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to share this. I'm too, hear these poems, they know all about me. They know everything about me because I talk about everything. And, but I wanted to be free and I wanted others to be free. And I realized that the poetry the writing was a gift from God, and it wasn't for me to hold on for myself, but to share with others so that they may be free as I was free. That little girl was freed. And so that's how it came together. And so it took me about 3 years to really complete it. And it was published of May of this year. And when I started putting it out, it wasn't even about the money or the finance. It was about people reading it and feeling and getting what I wanted them to get from it, and to be free and to either come to the Lord or come back to the Lord, or just, realize what life is all about. And so when I put it out and people were coming back and telling me how, it was like they were reading their life story, or they cried, or they were free from something or whatever, that brought more joy to me than silver and gold. I mean, for a woman to read Freedom Is, and then to come to me and say, I felt that same way. I felt that same pain. Realize now that I'm not alone, that I could be free. And I got testimony after testimony. And that was just, it brought tears to my spine, because it was doing just what I wanted it to do, to reach people so that they could be free and so that they can come to the Lord, get to know the Lord, that the Lord can heal you. He can free you from all of that. He did for me. He can do it for you. And so that's what Freedom is all about. It's about, it's, I think, like 3-4 different sections in it, about life, about family, about love, and about the different ones that was very instrumental in my life in teaching me about love, and that's gone on to be with the Lord. And so that's what it's all about. And it's just freedom. And so freedom is, and I left it, the title Freedom is whatever it is to you. It's different for each person. And so that title to me was so fitting. Freedom is whatever it is. If you're free from it, that's what it is for you. And it's different for each person. So that's what it's all about.
How do people get the book?
Yes. So it's on Amazon. I have it on Amazon, but they can also get it from me. Amazon is black and white. I have it in color. This is it right here.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
And I have it in color because I have some pictures in there, and they can just reach me on Facebook with Lantoinette Clark and Cash App me. The book is $12.95. It's $12.95, and Cash App me at $ Lantoinette Clark.
Okay.
Or it's on Amazon. They have it the paperback and also Kindle.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna have to get the book. I'm really gonna have to get the book, because
Yes.
just talking to you and how you're moving me right now, I can't wait to read the book.
Yes.
Have you done any live poetry? Well, I know it's kind of hard now with Zoom, but do you do live poetry readings or anything like that? Have you done that in the past?
Yes, I have. I'm not originally from Beaumont, but when I moved here, it was a lady that I worked with. After I read one of my poems in church, she told me about poetry reading that they have in the city. And so I became a part of it, and I started maybe about 5 years ago, and it happens every November. This one particular one, I went to several, but this one that I'm really faithful in going to is every November. So they have local authors come in and they read their poetry and, or what have you. And so I have once a year. It's once a year for that one. Yeah.
Well, we'd like to keep us abreast.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
forward that information to us so that we can put it out there.
Okay.
Because, our voices are powerful. And I'm just beginning to accept that, how powerful our voices are, and that we need to be heard. We need to be heard because each one of us has a story that, in essence, can free someone else.
Yes. Yes.
So our voices are powerful. So if you're doing something along that line, you're doing a poetry reading, please let us know. I know not everybody's going to fly to Texas, but just knowing that you're out there is really important.
Yes.
Adding to the strength of voices that are talking about good things, other than all the negativity and hate and all the out there.
Yeah.
We have to have voices that rise above that, and that's what is needed right now. And yours is one of those voices.
Yes, it is.
Please keep us informed about your goings on. And
yes.
We would love to have you come back. I know Ida's thinking the same thing.
Oh, yes.
About ways of integrating you into our family.
Yes, I would love to. That would be an honor.
Yes.
Okay. Also, I have a prayer line. It's a waking up with the word. It started like 5 years. It'll be 5 years in December. Waking up with the word is the name of the prayer line. And it started when it was a group of ladies in my church wanted to get together and pray. But everybody had different hours that they could be available. So I sought the Lord about it, and he gave me 4 a.m. in the morning. And so I went to my pastor to see if it was okay. He agreed to it. He said it was fine. And so I started the prayer line. It'll be 5 years in January. And every morning at 4 o'clock, every single morning at 4 o'clock a.m., a group of ladies, some men come on too, but ladies more so, come on, and we open up with the word, and then we pray. We take prayer requests, and we pray for people throughout the land. Some people have come on getting ready to commit suicide. Some people come on and lost a loved one, is very devastated, and on the line we rally around them and we pray. And so that prayer line has really strengthened me over the 5 years. I mean, really strengthened me. I think that if it wasn't for that prayer line, that I would probably be a little weak. You know, how sometimes you get weak in your walk and then you get off path. But that prayer line is stability for me and the ladies that's been coming on for the past 5 years. And so I thank God so much. I thank him so much for that. They might not come daily, but they know that when they're in need or when they want to get a prayer through, they'll drop in at 4 o'clock in the morning. And so I thank God for that. That's another thing that I have going on that prayer line.
So how do
we have different models.
How do people connect to your prayer line?
Okay, so the number it's a toll-free number. Well, it's a free number, and it's 605-475-3250. And then you have an access code, which is 27699.
Okay, can you repeat that just so everybody can get it?
Yes, it's 605-475-3250. The access code is 27699. And that's 4 a.m. Central Standard Time every single day. We start off with waking up with the word, but connecting to our source.
I love it. That's
Oh my goodness, you have probably given people a lifeline just now.
yes.
Praise Jesus.
Yes.
You've given them a lifeline.
Yes.
But it's interesting that you were given 4 o'clock in the morning, because 4 o'clock it was interesting. My mother was a registered nurse, and for 30 something years. And she said the thing that she would always notice is that most of her patients would pass between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m.
Wow.
That's the hours that we're weakest. It's also the hours that the spirit is strongest.
Yes.
That she would always notice that between 4 and 6, that's when her patients would pass. And so 4 o'clock is that time when we do feel weak, especially if we're awake and worried about things, and we're worried about the daylight coming because we don't know how we're going to face the day.
Right.
So this is powerful.
It's very powerful. Yes, and it was the latest one to do it in the evening, but I think God gave me 4 o'clock in the morning because it's a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice. A lot of people don't want to get up in the morning. My sister-in-law, she has a prayer line in the afternoon. I think it's at 6 o'clock in the evening. And she had a ton of people come on there. Well, they're getting off from work, they ending their day or what have you. But that 4 o'clock in the morning is a sacrifice.
Yes,
and
it is.
They want the prayer, they want the deliverance, they want the healing, but they don't want to do the sacrificing. But that's okay. God has his chosen ones that's chosen specifically for that purpose. And we do it gladly. We do it joyously. And so, it's a sacrifice that's well worth it. We wake up and we give him the first fruit of our lips every single morning.
That's so beautiful. That is so beautiful. So, how can people get in touch with you to get your book, to and also the unmute yourself? How do our listeners get in touch with you?
Okay, so I'm on Facebook, Lantoinette Clark, and that's Clarke. I'm on Snapchat, it's Lantoinette O. Instagram is _freedom.is_. And then you can email me at freedomis20@yahoo.com.
Excellent. All righty.
Yes, this has been, I'm just, I'm going to bed feeling different tonight.
That's wonderful. That's all God.
This has been really amazing. You're an amazing woman. And
Thank you.
I'm so glad that you want to be seen now.
I'm still getting used to it. It's just been a few years. It's been about 3 or 4 years that I'm free and not ashamed. I didn't like anything about me. I didn't like my name. I'm like, what did my mom name me Lantoinette? That's such a hard name. But over the past 5 years, it's like I like everything about myself. I like, my name. I like my hair. I like everything, I like everything is my Miss Maya Angelou say everything about my curves, my hips, my lips. I like it all. She was really who inspired me. I heard her when I was young, and she would talk and she would recite her poetry with such grace and so bold and so powerful. I was like, I want to be like that one day. And so, but anyway, so yeah, I don't mind people looking at me now, whereas before when they look at me, I would kind of crumble. Like, I hope they're not looking at me. Please don't look at me. Why are you looking at me? Please don't. But now it's like, okay, it's all right.
You're comfortable in your skin now.
Yes, I am. And it took a long time, but I'm here.
And I'm sure we have some listeners out there that can relate to your journey. And you being here, talking about this, you have definitely blessed many souls.
Yes,
Definitely blessed.
that's my aim, that's my goal, that's my desire. And so, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. And so loving people and helping people love themselves. That's what it's all about. That's my journey. That's my journey. And so I thank God that he has given that to me. And I thank him. I give him all the glory for what he's doing, for every life that would be changed. Unmute yourself. Every life that would be changed with freedom is, every life that would be changed with the prayer to go forth. That's my purpose. And so I thank God. I even found out that my name, I'm glad my mom gave it a name now, because the name Lantoinette is to worship. And so I thank God for it. It's just awesome.
Wow. Wow.
I think that's a good place to end. You
That
just said,
is a good place to end up. Wow. I'm telling you, we start off one way, but if we keep working at it, we end up somewhere totally different.
yeah.
Yes.
You're definitely a testimony to that. Definitely
Yes.
a testimony. So we thank you so, so much.
Yes.
And,
I thank you. It's an honor and a
I've been
pleasure.
filled this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Your business, through Just Minding My Business Media, has exposure on internet radio, major social media platforms, and now TV. Through Just Minding My Business, dynamic digital marketing platform. Don't listen to the word on the street. Hear it for yourself. Visit jmb.asistercircle.org to learn how you can take your business, your vision, to the next level. Thank you to the amazing women of A Sister Circle Empowerment Network, ASCEN LLC, and our media partners. Voiceovers by RCH VoiceWorks, for when you want to be heard. Call 443-620-4115.
Thank you for tuning in to Just Minding My Business Radio. I'm your host, Ida Crawford.
And I'm your co-host, Ruth Haskins.
We hope you enjoyed the show and appreciate you stopping by. Many blessings to you and yours.